a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Buckle up, folks. This is gonna be a long one. Hello, everyone. This is a deconstruction of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Mainly the world and logic within will be questioned because, as I figured out a while back, there are a lot of plot holes that I want to talk about. But to get a better understanding of what I mean, let's just jump right in. We open on a cloudy night. Through the misty streets, a person emerges from the fog. Dumbledore. There is a cat around the corner, watching him carefully. Dumbledore takes his lighter, didn't know he smokes, and distinguishes the lights with it. We later learn that the wizards of the magical world want it to be kept a secret from the Muggle world, and in order to stay hidden, Dumbledore uses magic in the Muggle world. He didn't even try normal clothing, but what do I know? It is then revealed that the cat was in fact another wizard, Professor McGonagall. She too made no effort to hide her magical powers there, but it was a cool visual, wasn't it? After a little chat, we find out that Hagrid, another magical folk, is delivering a child to them, Harry Potter. He's doing that by flying through the air with his magic motorcycle. This is truly a game about who can be most obvious about magic, and Hagrid might have already won by a long shot. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have a better idea. Just deliver the child in normal clothing and without magic. You can do this by just walking, you know that, right? What is the point of distinguishing the lights when 10 seconds later Hagrid does this? All you're doing essentially is carry a child onto a doorstep. You don't need magic to do that, you know? Anyway, Harry is carried to his aunt and uncle, as they are his only family left after Voldemort killed his parents. We later learn that he still does have family, but because of plot conveniences, his only remaining part of the family is sent to Azkaban. I guess they didn't invent the truth serum yet, or simply forgot about it. Anyway, I must ask, why being better off in the Muggle world? If he gets informed about magic later in life, it will shatter his entire worldview, much less explain any possible distrust in Dumbledore. Plus, you can withhold information from a child. You don't need to send it to a literal other world for that. Also, it is mentioned in the very first scene that the Dursleys, his aunt and uncle, are quite possibly the worst people for Harry to hang out with. Yet Dumbledore concludes, very confidently,
he's far better off growing up away from all of that.
Yeah, right. You go on, mate. We have this information confirmed when we meet the Dursleys the next scene. I have no problem with this. It is comically over the top and in service for the overall structure of the movie.
Why don't you just cook the breakfast and try not to burn anything?
I'm warning you now, boy. Any funny business, and you won't have any meals for a week.
Vernon, Harry's uncle, warns him not to do anything funny. It is later confirmed that he has made magical stuff happen before, to which the Dursleys are aware of. Nice subtle touch to prepare us of what's to come. They go to the zoo, where Harry talks to a snake. Why does the snake understand him? Well, you see, in the second entry, the Chamber of Secrets, it is confirmed that Harry can indeed talk to snakes. Parcel tongue, it is called. But here, he just talks to the snake in plain English, so we can only assume that the snake knows English, or that he is talking in parcel tongue unbeknownst to him or the audience. Though that would mean that everyone in the zoo would hear the wiggly stuff that he's saying. If that's true, I'm beginning to understand why the Dursleys view him as the weird one in the family. Like, don't stand near me, son. Or nephew, for that matter. Anyway, the snake gives him a clear signal that it understands him. Unfortunately, they double down on the understanding thing by giving the snake a head nod as well as a head shake. So, the snake not only understands, for all we know, English, but it also understands Western communication. To Harry's question if it misses its family, the snake points to a sign saying "bred in captivity." This informs us that the snake also knows how to read. Look, I know this movie is made for kids, but we are only 7 minutes in and the world building is already out of hands. And the common excuse, "it's because magic," will prove to be wrong in many places. Believe me, we will get back to that argument a lot in this video. Also, I don't think it's a good excuse for making random stuff happen, because it excuses contradictions and plot holes with a premise that is reliant on rules, at least as long as the script needs it to. Whatever, Dudley witnesses Harry's conversation and proceeds to knock him aside. Grumpy old Harry then makes the glass disappear, resulting in Dudley falling into the enclosure. The snake sees its option and escapes, but before it does, I'm not lying to you on this one, this is real. It looks Harry straight in the eyes and says, "Thanks." This Parseltongue English mix-up gets so confusing that I'm just gonna leave it here and move on. Dudley tries to leave the enclosure only to find that the glass is back again. This has no repercussions whatsoever, no butterfly effect, nothing. Nobody ever questions how this kid ended up in there or how the snake got out. I guess the muggles are as stupid as they are made out to be. The next day, we see an owl dropping off a letter on the Dursleys' doorstep. Don't worry, I'll get back to the owl delivery soon enough. Harry finds the letter and notices that it is addressed to him. This is one reason why telling him about magic would have been the better choice. It is addressed to Mr. Harry Potter, the cupboard under the stairs. Yeah, so if he didn't know any better, which he does, he should conclude that this letter is either a prank from his aunt and uncle to make fun of him, or that Harry has a creepy stalker. The fact that Vernon keeps on destroying the letters, and more of them keep coming every day, I would not hesitate to call the police. This is, at best, creepy behavior. But now, we don't get any of that. Harry is just happy to have mail, right? This can be explained by pointing out that Harry has no connections to others, is an outsider, and hasn't gotten any mail ever. That this is like the first for him, which he is happy about. I'm not saying Harry is smart, he's just very naive. The wonderful imagination of a child. The days go by and the owls keep coming on sending mail through the letterbox, to which Vernon proceeds to sew it shut. We then witness Petunia cracking eggs, only to find more letters inside. Like, imagine if this was Harry doing it. It would creep him the fuck out, right? Like, interesting way from Dumbledore of telling Harry about Hogwarts. If I were to witness this from Harry's perspective, I would stay the fuck away from that place. We then get the famous letter invasion scene, where the house gets bombarded by letters to the point of them being buried by them. Okay. Let's deconstruct it, shall we? The first time we see all the owls outside, none of them are carrying any letters. For the sheer number of letters invading their home, there should also be way more owls than we actually get to see. So much for hiding the wizarding world from the muggle world. But you see, it's fine, because it's magic. Even though it is clearly established that the letters are delivered not by magic, but by owls, Vernon's genius answer to all this is that right here. Yeah, that's right. And I'm not even gonna question how they got there. The misery of Harry seems to be more important to them than the education of Dudley. Like, how is he gonna get to school now? But whatever. Little out of character, but you see, we need this set piece for the 1 second Hagrid is introduced as a fucking monster. Enter Hagrid. And for all they know, this should be Harry's stalker. He bombards them with letters, knowing exactly where he sleeps, finds them on the first night in the abandoned house, and gives him a birthday cake. I don't know why nobody pointed this out, but from the perception of Harry, he should be terrified down to the bone. But Harry is all like, "A birthday cake for me? Wow, this is so nice." This scene is treated lightly, since we, the audience, already know who Hagrid is. Unfortunately, the Dursleys, and Harry for that matter, don't. But for the sake of the plot, this is ignored.
Of course, you know all about Hogwarts.
Sorry, no.
No?
Why is Hagrid surprised that Harry doesn't know anything about Hogwarts? In the opening scene, it is clearly stated that he is kept from all this until he's ready. The letter was merely the invitation, nothing more. But then he gives him the letter anyway, knowing that he didn't read it yet. Hagrid might not be the smartest, but he is most definitely the strongest. Aunt Petunia, although in a fit of rage, has a point.
My perfect sister being who she was, we have a witch in the family. I was the only one to see her for what she was. A freak.
She was the normal sister that got treated unfairly by her parents. It is played as evil since they kept Harry from the truth, but her story is as tragic as his. This points out a fact that is common in the Harry Potter universe. What is good or what is bad is not so much defined by what it is, but by who it does or says it. Don't worry, I'll come back to that.
You told me my parents died in a car crash.
A car crash? A car crash killed Lily and James Potter?
You had to say something.
Also, why is Hagrid outraged that they lied to Harry about his parents? Telling him they died in a car crash is much less scandalous than telling him they got blown up by an evil wizard. He knows that Harry was meant to grow up away from all this. A car crash seems to be one of the most reasonable and believable stories they could have told him. Again, one instance where something reasonable is considered evil because an evil person has said it. Anyway, Hagrid then explains to Harry what a muggle is, by using the word to describe his aunt and uncle. Okay, it is less of a description and more of an insult, but you see, when Hagrid insults them for being muggles, it is played for laughs. But if Petunia insults Harry for being a wizard, it is to show how evil she is. He then notices Dudley eating Harry's cake, to which he charms him with a pigtail. Another comical scene to make the audience laugh without any sense of repercussion. If your goal is to hide the magical from the non-magical world, this is another instance of a very stupid idea. I know Vernon and Petunia are aware of magic, that's why they kept it from Harry, but they're gonna have to remove the pigtail somehow. Like, how are they gonna explain that? Also, from Hagrid's point of view, he's just disfigured a child he just met. All Dudley did was eat his cake. I don't think a pigtail is a justified punishment for that, but what do I know? He then points out that it is forbidden to use magic outside of Hogwarts. Yeah, alright. This is retconned later in the story, so we're just gonna move on. You'll notice that over the course of the movies, they establish many things only to forget about them or change them without any reason. Harry then follows his creepy stalker into the stormy night. They then enter the magical wizard bar. I couldn't make out exactly what the sign says, but it is a nice little touch to have it appear as they enter. Though I must ask again, why have this in the open like that? Any muggle could just stumble in here at random. Yes, I'm using the insult word to describe it, because that is easier. We then get a rather confusing scene. The bartender recognizes Harry Potter. We don't know exactly how, but he does anyway. Hagrid only refers to him by his first name, to which he could have concluded that it's the chosen one and not just a random Harry. But he sounded so clear that his looks and first name seemed to be enough indication to conclude that it's the one Harry. But later on the train to Hogwarts, Ron only understands after seeing the scar on his forehead. This could be one of the many signs that Ron is fucking stupid, but we'll get to that, just be patient. He then meets Professor Quirrell. We get a nice little exchange with some reference to the ending. Enter Diagon Alley. Along the shops with all the magical things inside you could imagine, Harry asks a very fair question.
But Hagrid, how am I to pay for all this? I haven't any money.
To which Hagrid then has a rather funny response.
Well, there's your money, Harry. Gringotts, the Wizard Bank. Take no safer place, not one, except perhaps Hogwarts.
Hogwarts surely will be the safest place apart from Gringotts. I wonder if this turns out to be false in this or later movies. Oh, this is gonna be a fun one. We then enter Gringotts, the bank for wizards. Hagrid wants to make a withdrawal in Harry's name. To be able to do that, the goblin asks for Harry's key. So you're telling me the only thing you need to get access to someone's belongings is their key? This type of security seems kinda low and stupid for a bank that Hagrid has just called the safest place on Earth, besides Hogwarts. Though considering what happens at Hogwarts every year, this comparison might be more accurate than I make it out to be. After arriving at Harry's vault, the goblin opens the vault door to reveal a giant pile of gold. This is another aspect that will cause problems later, so for now, we're just moving on. Harry then points out that he needs a wand. Fair enough. I gotta say, I've always loved his entrance. Then, in order to test the wand, Ollivander tells him to give it a wave. Now, this might be a bit controversial, but I doubt that this is a sustainable way to test wands if every wrong one causes massive destruction in your shop. Hagrid, so far being the exposition man in this story, proceeds to do his duty.
Not all wizards are good. Some of them go bad. Voldemort started to gather some followers. Your parents fought against him. But nobody lived once he decided to kill him. You're the boy who lived.
Whatever, now Harry is at the train station on his way to platform 9 3/4. Why would they have the grand entrance to your train be in the middle of a public train station? There couldn't be a worse spot if you want to stay hidden, wouldn't there? Now, you could make the argument of, oh, because magic, like we established earlier, but that hasn't been defined in any way. Harry was talking to the train conductor and he had no problem interacting with him. What, you're telling me Harry just randomly disappears after that? That would not only call into question the magic that happens in a public space, it would make even less sense considering the storytelling so far. You see, the magic system falls apart the second you start thinking about it. J.K. Rowling clearly established rules for it, but either doesn't think it through enough or contradicts her own writing in order to make place for something new. But now, let's settle the rant for a moment, because we now get a rather cute scene between Ron and Harry, and I must admit, this is fantastic. It establishes the relationship between them as well as to show their respect for each other. Unlike other times in the movie, here they behave like actual children, solving personal problems in a unique and creative way. Harry sees that Ron doesn't like the sandwich his mom made for him, so he offers to buy the whole trolley to help him out. On the other hand, Ron is stunned as he realizes that the Harry is the one Harry Potter, but overcomes his excitement relatively quickly as he meets him on a personal level. I gotta say, I love Ron's reaction when Harry tells him he's the one Harry Potter.
I'm Ron, by the way. Ron Weasley. I'm Harry Potter. I've got Dumbledore. I got about 6 of him. Hey, he's gone.
These cards seem like a literal downgrade version of cards we used to collect, like match attacks or something. Basically the same, except you can only look at them once. I wonder what the thought process behind it was. Like, yeah, a news article's gotta have moving images and videos and all of the sort, but cards for children to collect? You better take a good look at them once, cause they'll be gone right after.
Oculus Reparo.
Hermione, you might as well try it on his eyes.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter!
She only recognizes Harry after he takes his glasses off, which raises the question as to what part of his appearance now makes people remember him, or recognize him for that matter. It was established, and I thought it was the scar all along, but for some people it seems to be the glasses first and foremost, but for Hermione it is the lack of it. But considering she has never seen Harry Potter in her life before, neither in person nor in a magazine, I wonder how she guessed it right at this point. The only thing that would give it away is his scar, which is hidden in this scene, by the way, so the fact that she recognizes him after he takes his glasses off only adds to the confusion.
You two better change into robes. I expect we'll be arriving soon.
But when she said that, it was broad daylight, and when they arrive, it is late at night. Like, how many minutes did she figure these two would need to change? Like,
Right then, first years, this way, please. boys! Right then, this way to the boats. Come on now. Follow me.
I like how Hagrid waits like 10 seconds for the first yes and then immediately goes off. Like only 5% of all passengers on the train have left so far. What makes you think every first year got out first? This guy looks like he's in third year at least, but what do I know? You go on, Hagrid. We already established that you might be the biggest, if not the brightest candle on the cake, so moving on. Quick side note, I know everyone is aware of this, but I freaking love the music in these films. The way the theme swells when Hogwarts is first revealed to us is truly magical and captures the reaction of the first years perfectly for us. I love how when they first enter the Grand Hall, Hermione just can't help herself but explain to the girl next to her the magical ceiling, all while the girl looks like she wants to fucking end herself.
Professor Dumbledore would like to say a few words.
That the third floor corridor is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a most painful death.
Hold up. Don't these movies tell us over and over again that Hogwarts is one of the safest places you can be? But already in the first movie, we are reminded that there is a corridor that will kill every student who happens to enter it. Now, one might assume that, considering magic, that Dumbledore would, for the safety of his students, seal the corridor off for the students with a powerful spell or something. Something that is not easily broken. But everything we get is a rusty old lock that can be overcome with a spell that Hermione learned before attending her first ever class. Something tells me he doesn't care about the children like he wants us to believe. We get back to the safety measures in Hogwarts, or better the lack of it. Okay, now is the perfect time to talk about the Hogwarts houses. There are 4 of them. Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. But they are better described with the following terms: hero, loyal, smart, evil. But truly, in these movies, there are really only 2 relevant houses, the heroes and the villains. Also, is it just me, or does sorting an 11-year-old into one of these houses at the beginning of their school year mess with their development a bit? The sorting hat basically tells them what kind of person you are or what you will eventually become. Let's get into the mind of an 11-year-old, shall we? Let's say you are a nice and friendly little kid attending your first year at Hogwarts, but the sorting hat places you in Slytherin. That means that you are either a lying little cunt or that you are gonna be a lying little cunt later in life. Whatever it is, it sure says nothing more than, you deserve the evil house. I hope I don't need to explain why separating children like that can be a really, really bad idea. Especially if you're gonna put all the evil ones in the same room. Then again, why do we still have Slytherin as a participating house? You are literally raising Death Eaters here. What are you doing? Also, great idea, Dumbledore, to make the former Death Eater the head of the Slytherin house. Can't imagine anything going wrong here. Ron even states that not every Slytherin will become a Death Eater, but every Death Eater was a Slytherin before. Moving on, Harry and Ron, already being the troublemaker they are, miss Professor McGonagall's first class. In a fit of rage, if you want to call it that, McGonagall suggests turning one of them into a map, despite the fact that Hogwarts is a huge maze, especially for a first-year student. Mind you, the stairs change direction at random, or at will, we don't know. Can you really blame someone for coming in too late like that? Then again, everyone else was on time, so what do I know? Harry and Ron are just stupid motherfuckers. Anyway, Snape decides to give the most badass entrance to be ever put on film.
There will be no foolish wand-waving or silly incantations in this class.
Now we get greeted to one of the many moments that were cut for the theatrical version. For one, they didn't want you to know that Harry was such a dick in the first movie already.
Clearly, Hermione knows. Seems a pity not to ask her.
Turn it to rum. I actually managed to eat tea yesterday. Before...
Oh god, I miss first movie spellcasts so much. Imagine they did that in the final battle, like...
Turn this stupid fat rat yellow.
Okay, hold on. I think it's time to address the elephant, more like the owl, in the room. In the Harry Potter universe, owls are used as a means for transportation, such as letters, gifts, and presents. Mind you, an owl is amongst the weakest and slowest types of birds that exists. And considering the world of Harry Potter has many forms of transportation, I can only call this plain and simple animal abuse. Despite of the cruelty done to these birds, it is also perhaps one of the dumbest ways to transport information. Owls are slow and would need a long fucking time to travel. Ah, fuck me, anything for the fucking visuals, I suppose.
Hey, look! Neville's got a remembrall.
They call the remember ball a remembrall. Fuck me.
Best not to mention this to anyone, Harry.
That's the vault Hagrid and I went to.
3, 2... Mr. Longbottom.
Why was the professor concerned at first? Neville did exactly what she told them. In fact, he was the only one doing anything.
I want each of you to kick off from the ground hard. Keep your brooms steady, hover for a moment, then lean forward slightly and touch back down.
If it wasn't for the script, she should be proud, but that would ruin his reputation of being the dumb one, I see. So just wait 4 seconds, we get back to it.
Mr. Longbottom!
There we go. Okay, this is a huge nitpick, and I know it was the early 2000s, but look at that CGI face. Gorgeous. Okay, so she carries Neville off of the field and into the hospital walls. Fair. But you gotta remember that you just left many 11-year-olds with brooms on an open field. I know you told them not to do anything, but these are little kids. Most of them have been exposed to the wizarding world for only a short time, and they have just been given a broom to fly with. Do you really expect all of them to listen to your order? If you do, you are a shitty teacher. And if you don't, you are a shitty teacher. I'm sorry. Anyway, Harry, the hero we can all relate to, just threatened Draco to knock him off his broom while both of them happen to be 100 feet in the air. If flying gets you expelled outside of lessons, what will death threats do? Oh, you just wait for what the punishment for staying up late will be. Don't worry, you will not be disappointed. Now we get to one of the many and personally for me biggest problems of the Harry Potter franchise. It's the thought that I also mentioned earlier, that actions aren't judged by what they are, but by who is doing it. For example, McGonagall just witnessed Harry catching the remembrall. Mid-air, to which she concluded that Harry would be an excellent seeker. Alright. The problem, however, is that no first-year student is allowed to participate in Quidditch until the second school year. This is treated as a heroic moment for Harry. He is so good that his skill goes beyond any rules. But if Draco would be chosen as a first-year seeker, it would have been seen as an unfair advantage. I can give a perfect example of such a thing. In the second movie, The Chamber of Secrets, the Slytherin team gets gifted special brooms by Lucius Malfoy, the father of Draco Malfoy, an act that is seen as evil and unfair in the eyes of the protagonists. But when Harry gets gifted a special broom in his first year by McGonagall, a teacher at Hogwarts and head of the Gryffindor house, mind you, the movie goes like, oh man, such kindness. She just gave her house an unfair advantage that is seen as an uplifting moment. Like Harry's gonna be unstoppable with this one. But when the Slytherins get such treatment, not from the head of their house, mind you, it is to show how cruel and unfair they are. Again, what is right or wrong isn't so much dependent on what it is, and more about who is doing it.
But I've never even played Quidditch. What if I make a fool of myself?
You won't make a fool of yourself. It's in your blood.
Little silly of Hermione to make that assumption considering she is from a Muggle family, but anyway.
You filthy little mudblood.
Let's go this way.
Before the staircase moves again.
Wait, what was their destination? Did they all of a sudden choose to go in a completely different direction? Or did they just wander around Hogwarts aimlessly and thought like, oh well, the staircase moved, might as well check this corridor out? Or did they have a place to go, but then the sudden change of the staircase got them into better ideas? Also, this is the forbidden corridor, remember? One would think that it would be sealed off or denied entrance, or hell, make this staircase not move to it. You have magic, remember? Do something. Oh, don't worry, we will get back to that room, believe me. There is a lot to say about it, but be patient with me. Anyway, we now get a scene where Wood explains to Harry the rules of Quidditch. Let's examine, shall we? To dump it down a bunch. There is ball and there is hall. Ball needs to go into hole to secure a point for team. There are people whose job it is to sorely injure other enemy players by smashing different balls into them. There is one who defends the holes. But wait, when does the game end? Does it have a timer? Well, fella, that's where Harry comes in. You see, Harry, the Seeker, has a very special task. He has to catch the Golden Snitch, a tiny and very quick ball with wings that flies around the area. If Harry catches it, his team gets a whole bunch of points and the game ends. So, wait a minute. Harry is just simply playing a completely different game here. All of the players play with this one ball in these holes and try to secure points, a lot like soccer. And Harry is just on his own hunting the Golden Snitch all game. It also doesn't really matter which team secures the most points before the snitch is captured, because the reward for capturing it is so high that it most certainly outweighs the current status. Harry has no participation in any of it. He just flies around until he catches the snitch, and with that, winning his team the game. It would be like a standard soccer match, but in the corner are two children playing chess outside the field, and whoever wins that match of chess wins the soccer game. Now that I think about it, it's a lot like that. Nice one there, JK. Whatever, it is a spectacle, I guess. Anything for the fucking visuals. But hold on. At Halloween dinner, there is an interruption.
No. I want to see them. Prefects will lead their house back to the dormitories. Teachers will follow me to the dungeons.
And after everyone left, Harry's motivation to go rescue Hermione is because...
What? Hermione! She doesn't know!
But I thought she had been in the girls' bathroom all along. That's what Neville said, remember? And unless the girls' bathroom is down in the dungeon, I doubt that Hermione will have any trouble with the troll. Oh, okay, so Harry was right with his worry. The troll indeed escaped the dungeon. But what I'm curious about is why it hasn't already been caught or at least seen by anyone. Lots and lots of students were roaming the halls. There are ghosts flying through the walls. Hell, every single painting has a dude in there. And the troll is like the slowest motherfucker on earth. How can it run around freely without any other teachers catching up? I know most of them are old, but it's magic, you see? Hogwarts really is the safest place, alright?
5 points will be awarded to each of you for sheer dumb luck.
Wait, hold on. She gives Harry and Ron points for defeating the troll. She herself stated that it was just luck. And if anything, all they did was break a bunch of school rules, as well as a direct order from the headmaster. Giving them points will only encourage them to try out more stupid stuff. They are 11, mind you. Has any teacher in Hogwarts ever learned anything about responsibility or childcare?
That explains the blood. He got himself bitten. That's why he's limping.
You think the little limping and the tiny amounts of blood are the cause because Snape was bitten by the three-headed dog? Have you seen the size of this thing? One bite, no matter how bad, will kill you. This isn't a chihuahua where a bite will only cause a little bleed if anything. This dog can devour a human. Just look at the size of its head. Your little detective stares don't make you no detective, Mr. Potter.
Bit early for mail, isn't it?
We already talked about this, so I'm just gonna let it play out with my additional input in mind.
But who? It's a broomstick.
Yeah, no shit, Harry. This looks cool, but is it efficient? Let's jump to another scene that I take issue with. Christmas. Especially Harry's present. Now, it's not really the movie's fault that Harry gets one of the most powerful items in the wizarding world in his first year for Christmas so that he can sneak around at night, because at that time, the cloak wasn't that important yet. It was only for the later books and movies that made the cloak one of the Deathly Hallows. This is one of the many decisions later made that alter previous works. Now, it is rather odd that exactly when Hermione told them to search in the restricted section, that Harry receives a magical cloak that can turn him invisible.
My body's gone. I know what that is. That's an invisibility cloak.
No shit, Ron. Now, let's have a little laugh and see how the restricted section in the library is secured at night. The wizarding world really skipped the beat when it comes to security and safety, I guess.
I found this in the restricted section.
For fuck's sake, Harry, just wait a second longer. They are still right there. Finch is even looking at your direction.
Come on.
Wait, they both fit under there? Why was Harry on his own then? Well, after they unpack the cloak, just like, yeah, Harry be better doing this dangerous task alone. Or didn't Harry tell Ron that he would be going that night? What is happening?
Men have wasted away in front of it, even gone mad. That is why tomorrow it will be moved to a new home.
Then I must ask, Dumbledore, why is the mirror here in the first place? If it is so dangerous that people have gone mad just by looking at it, why is it standing in a random room in Hogwarts? Why even risk it being discovered, especially by young lads? You are responsible for these children. I know it's a setup for the finale, but it doesn't make any sense in the context of the story. I begin to notice a pattern. Nothing really happens on cause and effect. Most of the things we and the characters experience are events that happen or trigger at random that give us information for future events. There is no discovery really. They just stumble upon things and go, oh well, that's useful to remember for later.
Nothing, I repeat, nothing gives a student the right to walk about the school at night. All 4 of you will receive detention.
Why is nobody watching after these children? Why are there no guards? You're telling me it is so important to stay in your bed, but you have like one muggle superintendent roaming about? I'm starting to believe that Hogwarts is not the safest place, and I'm beginning to understand how the troll might end up in the castle. It doesn't need a setup from Quirrell or anything, you can just walk right in there. Okay, so all 4 of them receive detention for wandering about at night. Fine. And what is the detention, you might ask? Well, we got to that point. I can answer that. It is going to the Forbidden Forest, a dark and dangerous place where they are given the task to find an injured unicorn. On their own. If that isn't a direct attempt to murder these children, I don't know what is. Also, this dangerous forest that Voldemort, of all people, happens to seek shelter in, is right around the corner, in Hagrid's backyard, as a matter of fact. I love how Hagrid brings a crossbow and arrows for the task, but then it's like, Harry and Draco, you go by yourself, you'll be fine, trust me. With the lack of safety and security, it's a mystery to me why Voldemort hasn't tried to kill Harry the week he arrived at Hogwarts. Harry's body would probably be discovered 2 weeks later from Neville's toad or some shit.
As long as Dumbledore's around, Harry, you're safe.
Yeah, Hermione, I beg to differ.
Killer inside, scratch and drag, deal around.
burning. I think it's a warning. It means danger's coming.
Yeah, Harry, whatever you say. It is time we talk about this room and Fluffy. Yes, we know its name now. Great. So Fluffy is a big, dangerous, three-headed dog that is guarding the trap door to the Philosopher's Stone. There is absolutely no way to get past it without being eaten. But Fluffy has one weakness, you see. If you play music, he will fall asleep right on the spot. It doesn't matter if you push him or talk directly into his ear. As long as something is playing, he is all gone. Luckily, there's a harp next to him. What a coincidence. Additionally, if the stone is that important, why have it be guarded by something that is so easily overcome? Obviously, for the movie's sake, it has to be something that can be overpowered by little children. Otherwise, they would never make it to the end, right? But considering the logic of the universe, they protected the stone in ways a first-year student could overcome. Do I even need to remind you of the lack of safety in Hogwarts? I think we're just gonna move on. Also, how did they get Fluffy in there? Whatever. Magic, I guess. The dogs immediately stopped barking as in, well, they made it, nothing more for us to worry about. Now, the next challenge really puts our heroes to the task. They have to use everything they've learned so far. They have to relax. Yeah, just calm down, mate. Okay, I stop with the jokes now, because the next challenge actually requires one of them to put their learned skill to good use, because Harry has to catch a flying key. Hermione really puts her brilliance in display here. We see a whole bunch of keys flying around the room. Harry points out one of them has to be the right one for the lock on the door. We see a broomstick hanging out in the middle, to which Hermione asks,
What's this all about?
I wonder as well, Hermione. I wonder as well. Okay, I see how this goes. You might think these are tough challenges, but not tough enough to guard one of the most important artifacts in the wizarding world, right? Well, Dumbledore has another one up his sleeve. Chess! They have to win the game of chess in order to progress. I wonder how Quirrell managed to sneak past the figures without playing or harming anything. But that can be explained away by, well, it's magic again, I guess, though this is like the solution for everything in this universe. A repeating occursion, don't you think?
Alright. Harry, you take the empty Bishop Square. Hermione, you'll be the Queenside Castle. I'll be a knight.
Why did you even get up on the knight? Harry and Hermione were replacing missing pieces on the board. I can see the argument there. But the knight was right there and in full function. Wouldn't it be better if Hermione had to sacrifice herself? Then there could be a legitimate argument about these people. And there could be stakes. Instead, we got this sacrifice. This is a sacrifice, right? He falls off the knight on the ground like 3 feet or so. What a hero. The queen didn't even hit him.
You'll be okay, Harry. You're a great wizard.
Hermione, Harry hasn't casted any spells so far, but go on. And don't try to make sense of this chess game. I have tried, and trust me, you will be disappointed. Okay, so the Philosopher's Stone is in his pocket now. Okay.
What is it? What do you see?
I've won the House Cup.
He lies.
Firstly, why did he lie like that? He could have easily told him he sees his parents like he did earlier. That would be a lie, of course, but way more believable than this crap. Also, what good does it give Harry to have the stone right now? He doesn't know how to use it, much less defend it from Quirrell. The best that could happen right now is that Quirrell takes the stone and somehow does not kill Harry. Him having the stone right now is about the dumbest thing that could have happened to him.
Just give me the stone! Fool, get the stone!
Voldemort, what are you doing? Just The stone is right there, just accio it or something.
The stone has been destroyed. Only a person who wanted to find the stone, find it, but not use it, would be able to get it. That is one of my more brilliant ideas.
Okay, so let's get Dumbledore's plan straight. The stone was safely secured in Gringotts until Dumbledore decided, oh, not safe enough, and take it to possibly the unsafest place on the planet. After its safety precautions have been overcome, how couldn't they have been, and one kid almost died trying to seek it, or several, he concluded, ah well, this stone might be a little dangerous, we best just destroy it.
That is one of my more brilliant ideas.
No, Dumbledore, this is not a brilliant idea. Your idea is that the stone only comes to people who seek to find it but not use it? Which is exactly why Harry almost died in the dungeon. He was seeking it without the intent of using it, and that's why it got to him in the end. Quirrell was seeking it with the intent of using it, so obviously he wasn't so lucky. But Harry was in the room with him. All Quirrell had to do was just to get the stone from Harry. And if it wasn't for the spell that turned him into the new Bertie Bott's Beans flavor, he would have easily gotten it. Harry never would have been able to use the stone for his advantage because that would break the rule that Dumbledore set up. Anyway, Gryffindor wins the House Cup because, I don't know, they broke 100 school rules. McGonagall really did something there, didn't she? But Ron can play chess, you see, and Neville is brave or something. Why is the House Cup even important? Slytherin earned it, they've worked for it, but Dumbledore's like, nah, Ron can play chess. He cannot. 100 points to Gryffindor, fuck you, Slytherin. And the whole school, with the exception of Slytherin of course, is happy because Slytherin bad. Now, this was something, wasn't it? And against all odds, it might come to a surprise, but I still like this movie. I recognize its flaws and missed potential, but I see how that's not a huge deal for the younger audience. Hell, I didn't care back then and I watched it as a young lad. It is a decent introduction to the wizarding world, a little heavy on exposition, but it does bring us the world near without over-explaining every little bit. It has that magical, whimsy feeling that it was going for, and I'm glad that Chris Columbus got to direct the second one too. These two movies serve as a perfect introduction to what will eventually evolve into a bigger story. And who knows, maybe I will make a video like that on the Chamber of Secrets one day. But until then, enjoy your holidays, and don't practice magic outside school. Only if it's for humiliating your traumatized cousin. You know how it works, buddy.